about the bad times, don't you worry. I'm just telling you about them because they happened and because I can laugh about them now. Hopefully we can all laugh about them together, learn something about ourselves along the way, or at least learn something about me and my daft life. Good times. My name is Justin Lee Collins. You can call me JLC or Justin or just. I don't mind, really. Call me anything you want. The first thing you should know about me is that I'm an only child. I think that's very significant. Every now and then I'll signpost something that I think is highly significant by saying that it's significant. That's an advance warning. Hope I don't repeat myself too often. Apologies if I do. I think it's important to know I'm an only child because it meant I had to amuse myself from as early on as I could remember. My dad, on the other hand, was one of 14 children. Yes, they were Catholic. But my dad isn't really very religious. I think he's lapsed. My mum also has 2 sisters and a brother. She's a bit more religious, but not born again or anything. She goes to church regularly, but bear in mind her local church in Bristol is the nicest place. They don't try to force anything on you. I love it there. Anyway, I was born in Southmead Hospital, Bristol, in 1974. Our first house was in Teresa Avenue, Bishopston. We lived there from 1974 until 1981. Then about 2 months before my 7th birthday, we moved to Kingswood. My dad was a self-employed electrical engineer, and he was often away from home working in Saudi Arabia, laying marble flooring. He's also a plumber. In fact, my dad can pretty much do anything. He can do heating, plumbing, electrics, lay marble floors, and many other things. The exact opposite to me. I can't bang a nail into a wall. As for my mum, she's always worked, and she's had loads of different jobs. When I was very small, she worked in a bookies. Then when I was in junior school, she was a dinner lady. She also worked in a hairdresser's, a post office, and a charity shop at weekends. My mum was 24 when she married my dad. I took about 7 years to come along, and even in the womb I was a troublemaker. So that might be why I'm an only child, which, as I mentioned before, is very significant. The Bishopston house was a large 3-bedroom terrace house, but my dad split one of the bedrooms in 2, so it became a 4-bedroomed house. I had a playroom, I had a rocking horse, not a fancy wooden one, it was made of tin. I've always had a lot of ear, nose and throat problems. I always had bad coughs and a bunged up nose. I'd be bunged up all the time. I'm often bunged up now. I remember I was thirsty and I couldn't sleep, so I went down to the kitchen to get a satsuma and a glass of water. And as I walked through the kitchen, I just happened to peep through the crack in the living room door. I could see my mum sitting on the sofa with a Millennium Falcon on her lap in the middle of wrapping it. She saw me, she knew that I'd seen her, and I'd seen it. I said, I didn't see anything, but I had. It was Christmas Eve, and I knew right then that there was no Father Christmas. I didn't really care. I was getting a Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. I was 9 years old. The thing I remember most about being that age was that I loved watching films and TV programmes, and almost simultaneously realising that I wanted to be in those films and TV programmes. My gran used to take me to the cinema during the summer holidays too. The 3 things we'd do were 1, go to Weston-super-Mare for the Grand Pier, which burned down recently and is sadly no longer with us. 2, go to the movies. And 3, go to Bristol Museum. They had a stuffed gorilla called Alfred, which I loved. But the cinema was my favourite. When Return of the Jedi came out, some cinemas had special Star Wars spectacular events, in which they showed all 3 films back to back. Star Wars, Empire and Jedi. My gran took me and had to sit through 6 hours of Star Wars. What a great woman. Apart from watching the TV till all hours, I would also listen to Brian Matthew late at night on Radio 2, and I loved Steve Wright on Radio 1. But Dave Barrett on GWR was my favourite. His phone-ins. Late night radio was a big thing for me. I loved it so much that I soon knew I wanted to be on the radio. And the one thing I never, ever, ever, ever had any inclination to do my entire life was stand-up comedy. The first comedy person I ever remember liking is Harold Lloyd. I adored him. I also loved Laurel and Hardy on Saturday mornings. But if you ask my mum what my favourite programme was as a little boy, if you called her right now and asked her that question, although I doubt very much you've got her number, she would answer without missing a beat and she'd say, "Come Dancing."